The campaign has spread. For more perspective on the phenomenon that Occupy Wall Street has become, I'm joined now by a man who's been taking a bird's-eye view of the group, and Anatoly Karlin is joining me from the founder. He's indeed the founder of the Sublime Oblivion blog, live there in San Francisco. What's striking about this movement is how fast it's spreading. How did something that began as a small protest by a dozen or so individuals evolve into a global movement?
Well, I think that it's important to note that the speed of its spread might be striking, but it is based on a reservoir of resentment that has been growing for several years already. Basically, people are asking. They had these big banks being bailed out during the economic crisis, and unemployment has skyrocketed to nearly 10%. And people are basically now began asking, why were they bailed out? Why was I not bailed out?
So, as you say, the movement has quite...
There was a tipping point and it tipped over.
OK, sorry, what I want to ask you quickly, the foundation clearly has, well, the movement has clearly some strong foundations there, but what about the nature of the protest, though? Are they actually going about the right way to get their message heard, do you think?
Well, it's hard to say at the moment. They're basically making a big impression. They're getting media attention, and some aspects of the movement are connecting it with real issues facing Americans, which I think is important to the movement's success. For instance, there's I can give two examples. There's the Occupy Homes movement. Basically, people are being evicted by the banks from foreclosed homes, and there's part of the Occupy movement trying to occupy them. And there's also the protest against the increasing costs of education, for instance, at UC Berkeley. It's called the 99% versus the 81%. The 81% refers to the projected increase in tuition fees over the next 4 years, and they're already very high. So I think it's correct that they're connecting it to real issues, but what's a problem is that for now they remain fairly amorphous, the entire organization, and I am not sure that this model is sustainable.
Yes, you've identified that problem, which the media is very keen to highlight. This sort of element of mixed messages there, this lack of cohesion, one actual issue that they all want to protest about. It's in some ways diluting the message. Now, just how can they get over that then, do you think?
I think they should focus. I think they make it's a good statement they make, but they have to move on to concrete actions, such as these particular issues I highlighted, and also they have to start pressuring politicians within mainstream politics to take their views into account, such as take a cue from the Tea Party. They mobilized, they kicked out the old-style Republicans and replaced them with Republicans who are closer to their worldviews. The Occupy movement should aim to pursue a similar strategy with Democrats.
Interesting, because we know there's been some political interest in Germany, as we just reported, that they managed to win over the support of a couple of major political factions. And as you say, the next way forward is obviously to get politicians on board. But just finally, do you believe this movement really has the staying power? It's going to be going, well, it's been going strong now for 2 months, but do you think it will persevere? And, of course, there's the worry about anarchy as well, some of the violence we've seen in these protests. Do you think it does have longevity?
Well, yes. I mean, there are big questions. Winter is coming. You're not going to. It's hard to camp out during winter, especially in some place like New York. There's you have to. the media is the anarchy. The anarchy element, I have to say, is that it's basically a two-way street, because the police sometimes provokes it, but on the other hand, I think they should also try to present a more respectable image, make better sartorial choices. I mean, it's fun to go out, camp in your pajamas, bring a bong along. It's fun, but they should. It's not going to appeal to the mainstream, and that is really what we need.
Anatoly, thanks so much for your time. Anatoly Karlin joining us live there in San Francisco.